Good evening. Good evening. How are y'all doing? My name is Joseph Googie. I am one of the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind, which is a pre-PT platform that is meant to help you as pre-PTs get into physical therapy school without wasting a lot of time or money. And this week, what we've been doing is we've been having a GRE series. So if you're watching this live or on replay, Kyle, I see you, brother. I see you, man. Let me bring you on here, boss, and then we'll get started. Sydney, great to see you. Great to have you all here. And what we've been doing this week is we've been having a series for the GRE specifically, and we want to make sure y'all are well taken care of. But before we do that, Kyle, how you feeling, boss? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Yep.
Loud and clear?
I got you loud and clear, yeah.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. We have Sydney. We have Olivia. Great to see you all here. And tonight is the fourth part. This is number 4. This is the fourth part of a series that we've been doing since Monday night, y'all. If this is your first time watching any one of these videos, make sure you watch the other 3. The other 3 were phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And the reason why we've been doing this, guys, is mainly because the GRE is a big. It's like GRE is tough. It's tough for a lot of people to get over, for a lot of different reasons, whether that's just from the sheer fact of it just being difficult and long, to just working hard and not seeing the results kind of pay off in a score that you actually want, where you're trying to get that 300 or more, and it's just not happening. And so this week, what we wanted to do is we wanted to say, hey, let's show the pre-PTs the areas that they're missing, the areas that they have not been guided through as pre-PTs that are holding them back from getting the score they want. And so it's very non-traditional, but it's what's allowed a lot of our students to absolutely crush it. And that's why we brought Kyle in. This is what he does. He's a physical therapist, but he specializes with standardized exams, specifically the board exam after PT school. But we've partnered up together to make sure that y'all are well taken care of. Pre-PT Grind and Kyle's business, the PT Hustle, has partnered up to make sure y'all are good. Y'all are good in relation to the GRE. And Kyle, before we begin tonight, is there anything you want them to hear from you in reflection of the week so far? And then tonight, let's talk about some fears and how to absolutely crush them. So Kyle, talk to us, boss.
Yeah, all week long, we've been really just hitting a lot of major issues that people have when it comes to the GRE. Again, when you take your Magoosh, your Kaplan, those types of courses, they're great, because they do give you a lot of the knowledge that you're going to need, but a lot of times they're not telling you a lot of the non-traditional things, a lot of the non-traditional skills, right? And so they don't tell you about anxiety, and we spoke about that earlier in the week, right? They don't tell you about like specifically finding your weaknesses. It's just kind of like do all of this, and if you study all of this, it'll work out for you. And we just spoke about that the other day, right, Joseph?
Yeah.
We were talking about how if you try to study everything, you wind up learning nothing. Right? Exactly. So, I mean, we've all week long just been providing a lot of this non-traditional approach to help you stop being so stagnant and start getting the score improvements that you're looking for. I mean, yesterday was a killer, was it not? That essay.
If they missed it.
Yeah,
y'all
you got to
missed that one.
reel it back. Yeah. Yeah, it's huge.
I say we dive in, bro. I say we dive in because
100%.
I think a lot of us it's really, Alex, how you doing, brother? It's really like anything. A lot of us are just scared that like things are just not going to go the way we're planning for them to go. I could put in as much work as I want. I could study as hard as I want. This is my second take, my third take, my first take. And I could put in all the work I want, but at the end of the day, it's just not going to add up. So first of all, before we dive in, I want you, if you guys are here, just comment #TeamLive. If you guys are watching this on replay, comment #TeamReplay. Y'all, I love it when y'all are engaging in conversation throughout, because it just lets us know that y'all are locked in. That y'all are locked in, and that what we're saying is actually sinking in. The honest truth is, Kyle and I have already way past our GREs. Like we finished ours a long time ago. We want to make sure that y'all also get past that hurdle. So as we're going through, whether y'all are watching this on replay or live or just on YouTube at some point, I don't know. Like this is gonna go different places. Who knows? But wherever and whenever you are watching this, just like lock in. And if you're commenting, just comment like just so that we can make sure that y'all are getting this because this is for you. This is for you to crush it. So if you're watching this live or on replay, just let us know in the comments if you're still like terrified. Let's just be real tonight. There's no reason for us to be hype or no. Let's just go straight to it. Like still terrified that whether your GRE is in 2 weeks, whether it's in a month, whether you're taking it next year, whether you're taking it tomorrow morning, you're still terrified that all the work you've put in just won't add up. Is that you? Is that you? If that's you, feel free to let me know in the comments. Or you know, but think about it as well. Like talk to yourself as we're asking these questions. Be real with yourself. Like are you still concerned that it's not going to add up? And I mean, because that leads to a few different things, and that's honestly one of the biggest fears. But what we're going to do tonight is we're going to dive a little deeper because we're going to tell y'all about the truth about fears. I mean, we all know we're scared. We all know we're nervous, whether it's about getting into PT school or whatever, but specifically the GRE for this, we all know that. I mean, most of us are just not good at standardized exams. So it's normal for most of us to be scared. The question is, what are we doing with that fear? How do we interpret it? And if we're stuck, how do we break out of it? Because it is a major stumbling block for the GRE. Like y'all will be stuck. You will be stuck because you'll do your practice test, you'll get, you know, way above a 300 on your practice test, you feel really good. And then based off of what you're afraid of, you can actually go in on the real test day and actually have it go the other direction. And you're like, I don't know what happened. Kyle, I did all the work. So Kyle, like talk to us about fear. Let's just dive in, man. And from all the students that you've helped, like where are people mostly stuck and how can we help these winners tonight absolutely lock in and understand what they need to do to just freaking crush it?
Yeah. You know what? The one thing I've worked with so many students, and I would say 9 out of 10 students struggle with that whole fear of what if I don't get the score from all this like hard work I'm putting in? What if I don't get the score? And then they usually stop there. Like that's their thought. It's like, oh, okay, well, what if this doesn't work out? What if? And so I've had tons of students in the past. Like I have one in particular in my mind right now where, you know, I would ask her like, why are you scared of, you know, not getting over a 300? And it's like, well, if I don't do that, then I don't, or I'm not going to be able to go to PT school. Like nobody's going to really like look at me. I'm not going to be able to get in. And then I'm like, okay, and then what? And then it's just like, well, then I just don't get into PT school. And I'm like, all right, but it's like, and then what? Like, what is that like deeper thing that you're really scared of? Like you really fearful? I mean, I know on the superficial layer, like pretty much everybody's scared of not getting the score and getting into PT school. But beyond that, what does it mean to you? Right. And so I kept, you know, asking her in different ways, and then come to find out, you know what she was scared of, Joseph?
What was she scared of?
She was, well, see, her mom and dad were both like big trainers.
Yeah.
Right. And they were very fit and they did the bodybuilding thing. And now the dad had his own business for bodybuilding. The mom went on and she has her own business. So they're really successful in the healthcare arena. Right. And so her bottom line was, I'm never going to amount to what my parents have done. Right. And they're going to like look down. They're going to look down on me, or they're not going to accept me because I'm not able to live up to their level.
Yeah.
And so that's what it was really coming down to. And so for you all listening to this right now, I mean, this person I'm talking about, I mean, she was so riddled with fear that even the idea of, oh, I have to go in there and take the exam next week was already starting to cause her to have all this anxiety, all this stress. And bottom line, what was she worried about? my mom and dad are pretty much going to outcast me, or they're not going to be proud of me, or they're not going to want me as a daughter anymore because I'm not able to live up to what they envision for me. Right. So
Hmm.
how many of you are in that same situation? Maybe you have a brother or sister who's older than you, and they're in graduate school, or they graduated now and they're in their profession. And it's kind of like, am I going to live up to my older brother or my older sister? Type deal. So I think that that's just one major area, Joseph, that people tend to have an issue with is, am I worthy of this? Will I be accepted if I don't get the 300 or the 310 or whatever score that you're looking
Mm.
for?
Man, it's like you're hitting it like, well, let me just say it this way. For a lot of y'all watching, like, did what Kyle say start to resonate a little bit? Because maybe I'll explain a little deeper. Y'all, like, when it comes to fears, the thing that you think that you're scared of is usually not the thing, right? There's usually, like, there's layers to it. And it comes down to figuring out like what it really is. Like what is it that you're really scared of? So, like, for example, if I'm scared, I mean, there's different reasons why that could be. It could be acceptance. It could be the example that Kyle just gave, which is you're afraid of not living up to certain expectations. It could be like fear of being stuck, right? Like, at the end of the day, maybe it's like, man, if this goes wrong, I'm going to be stuck in the situation that I'm in right now, and there's no way for me to break out of this particular cycle. You have to start asking yourself like more questions. Like, when you're scared of, like, when you're finding yourself saying like, what if this goes wrong? You have to ask yourself, like, what am I really scared of? Like, what is it? Like, dig a little bit into it, but only you can answer it. Because
Mm,
if I say it for you, then that's me saying what it might be for me if I was in that situation, based off of my
true.
upbringing, based off of, my relationship with my parents, or my peers, or my classmates, or the environment I grew up in. I can't really say it for you. Only you can. And that has to start with just starting to ask more, like, why am I scared? Why am I scared? If I'm scared of, like, for example, I had a there was, like, late last year. I'm not trying to put all like my family business out there right now, but like last year about this time, like, there was a few difficult conversations that had to happen with, like, my close family members, like things that were leading up to my wedding, right? And so when I was having those conversations, I was literally having like panic attacks before having those dialogues. And it's like, and there was several of them, but I started asking myself, like, why am I freaking out? Well, I was freaking out because of the potential backlash on what they would say. Like, so why did that matter? Well, because I valued their opinion of me, or I felt like I was going to be outcasted as a family member because I was doing things differently. Y'all, I come from a different culture, y'all. I'm from Kenya. So
Mm,
things are very different. So I started peeling it back. And then it's like a big, it's like a big, like, monster in your head, right? When you peel it away, you start realizing it's just a little tiny thing. And then all of a sudden you can actually approach it appropriately, instead of
right.
assuming that it's this thing that you can't, like, control. And so when it comes to GRE, like, that fear is so, like, y'all, like, it's so
For real.
important to be able to crush it. But let's start like, we have to start. This is the starting point. We have to start by asking more questions. Like, why? Like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I so, like, concerned that tomorrow's exam, if it's tomorrow morning, why am I so concerned that it possibly might go wrong? I had I don't know if I've told this story on here yet, but when I took my board exam, Kyle, have I told this story? The girl start. So when I took my board exam, and for those of y'all joining us live, welcome, Susie, welcome, Alex, what's up, bro? Like, there was a girl when I was in Texas at the time. There was a girl, Jennifer, what's up? There was a girl who was also taking her board exam the same day.
Mm,
And I was not a local. I was not from that area. I was doing a rotation there, so I was only there for about I think like 2 months, and so I ended up taking my board exams while I was in San Antonio and everything. But everybody else that was in that room was classmates. Like they all knew each other. And so you could hear them talking. You know people are friends based off of the conversations they're having. Like, hey, how's Sammy doing? I mean, come on, like you can't talk like that if you don't know somebody. So I do remember this one girl in particular who, when we were waiting to start the exam, started panicking. Like she started freaking out. Like you could see it. Like she started kind of shaking a little bit, like breathing heavily, and she was just saying like, "Oh my goodness! Like I think this is. I don't know. Like I can't fail it. I can't do." Like she was like verbalizing it out loud, which was probably not a good move because she was starting to freak everybody out, right? Like we were like, can y'all imagine? Like we had all eaten our like good breakfast and we were ready to go, and we had shown up, Kyle, and we were focused. Alyssa, how are you doing? Like we were focused and ready to go, and then all of a sudden this girl's just like freaking out. So in my head, I'm like, should I be panicking? But I remember this. I remember specifically hearing her classmates, her peers, who had gone through PT school at that time with her and had been there studying with her. They were like, "Yo, you prepared more than all of us." They weren't saying, "Hey, like you're gonna be all right. Hey, this, hey, that." They were like, no. You're the best prepared out of all of us. Practice exams, you were the best. Like your study program, you were the best. Like you're good. Like you're gonna be fine. But she let her fears at that time cloud what she was like about to do.
Right.
Now it almost threw me off, but I had to kind of like move to a different section and try to distract myself because I was in my zone. I had actually spoken to Kyle like the day before. I was, my mindset was locked in, and she almost threw me off my game. I'm telling y'all. So like when y'all are afraid, you usually end up like screwing other people up. So,
yeah.
but the honest truth is like she was stuck. She was stuck. So what happened was this. What happened was during the exam, I actually remember like you wear like the little headphones and stuff like that. I remember hearing her like sniffling through those headphones. Like I'm trying to focus on my exam, and I remember her sniffling. Like I could hear her. Like she was not having a good time. By the end, when I left, she was still having a mental breakdown. Like this is hours into the exam. Now the honest truth is, I don't really know what score she got. I could pretty much guess that she didn't do too well. Because if that's the state of mind you're in, there's no way for you to focus. There's no way for you to pull out everything you've actually prepared for. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. But for her, it was the fear. And her fear, and I just remember a few things that she said, but a lot of it was connected to family and expectations and things like that. But you have to figure out what is it? What is it? So you can confront it face to face. If you don't, you do make yourself very vulnerable to showing up on exam day and not being prepared to actually like mentally handle the exam appropriately. It's in there. You prepare, like that's why like when Kyle and I coach people, like we always know that it's usually sometimes you just didn't study properly, but a lot of times it's not primarily the information that actually causes people to like struggle on the exam. It's not. It's usually other things. That's where like you can study a lot and you're still like, oh my goodness, I don't get it. Like when you look at you're looking at the questions and you're like, man, like I knew how to do that. Like, well, what happened? Like it's usually not the information. There's other areas, and one of them is your fears. So what are like? Can we start like dealing with them now? Can we start like looking at them face to face now? Can we start asking ourselves, why are they our fears? Why, like, what's behind that? Like, what's behind the next wall until you find this little thing that tells you exactly what you're really afraid of. Kyle and I were talking earlier this week, y'all. Let's just talk about fears. I had to make a pretty big decision with my career this week, and it left me with some anxiety attacks, y'all. And I actually got on a call with Kyle and his wife and my wife, earlier this week, and we talked about it and stuff. But as we were talking about it, like we were pretty much just kind of like breaking down the situation, and they were trying to calm me down. Pretty much is what it was, right? And it just helped me with my life. But it came down to one thing. I was afraid of one person's perspective of my decision.
Mm.
I was afraid of one person's perspective of my decision. And that's what created this beast. Y'all, Kyle, you remember how
Beast?
I was in some bad
Yeah,
shape, man.
yeah.
I was
You
in
were beat up
bad
pretty,
shape.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was in
yeah.
bad shape. So I was afraid of one person's like outlook on what I was about to do. And once I took care of that, do I look calm right now? Bro, I'm chilling.
Straight chilling.
I'm straight chilling right now. I'm
Yeah, that's
good.
great. That's
But
great.
Kyle,
Yeah.
when we last talked, like not on the live stream, when we last talked, like video call earlier this week, the state of mind I was in
Yeah, you
was
were
that of
tripping.
panic.
Yeah.
Did I
Right.
change anything? No. But literally, bro, like my mannerisms, like my actions, like the way I'm even communicating is so different simply because that one, like I was able to figure out that, like, that's it. That's it. If we could just take care of that one thing, then we're good to go, man. So that's a lot of what we miss when it comes to GRE bet. Like, but if y'all can't figure that out, then it does become very, very difficult. Kyle, what are some steps that they can start taking? Like, what are some things that they should start like understanding? Kara, how you doing? If they want to be able to just like figure out, like, okay, like what am I really afraid of? How can I handle it? Like, what are things that I can tangibly do to start replacing a lot of those fears so that they don't hold me back when I take the real exam?
Right. So, I mean, I think that you gave a great example, and I got a great example of my wife too. I got to talk to you about all
Yeah.
of you. So, but before I go into that, I think you bring up a great point. Like, what can I do now? One thing that I would say is pulling out a sheet of paper and then writing down really what it is that you feel like you fear. Put that down on a sheet of paper, right? And then
Yep.
as soon as you have that, then follow up with a why question. Like, why is it that? Why do I believe that I'm fearing that? And try to take it as deep as you possibly can until you get to the bottom layer where you're like, okay, this is what I'm afraid of. Now, the first line may be, oh, I'm afraid of not getting the 300 or not getting the score. All right. Ask yourself, well, why? Right. And if you get stuck there and you're like, yeah, but I don't know, I can't go any deeper than that. Then the next step is we got to bring in somebody else, somebody that you trust. It doesn't have to be a psychologist. I mean, it'd be great if you went to like a mental health counselor or a psychologist, they get down to the problem, really quickly. But you could use your mom, dad, brother, sister, best friend, somebody that you trust that's willing to listen to you and ask you those why questions. Because sometimes if you're just talking it out, you wind up finding the problem by yourself without even somebody really saying anything. You wind up talking yourself right into the actual problem. And you're like, oh, shoot, there it is,
Yep.
And so that's the power of having somebody there who's just going to be an active listener that's just going to sit back and just listen to you. So that's a
Yep.
route that you could take as well. Joseph, I mean, you know that very well. I know that very well. The power of, just having Eliana, next to you and just talking to her. How many
You got it.
times have you had something going on in the clinic
Oh my
or,
goodness. So many
and
times.
and you came home, you were talking to her about it, and it was just like, oh, I could just do it this way. And she didn't really even say much. She was just
No.
listening to you.
Yep.
So I mean, I think that we all go through that, but that is an example of how you can start to figure out what the fear is and to start punching at that thing, addressing
You
it.
got it. You got it.
Yeah, 100%.
Tonight, man, what should they be doing starting tonight to make sure that they crush it? Because we have a gift for them. But before I tell them what the gift is, man, like what can they start doing tonight? It's take those steps and like is there anything else that they should like be thinking about or addressing? Or is that the best place to start plus what we're about to give them right now?
So what we just gave, because I don't want to give you too much, because if we give you too much, then I know, you get lost in the weeds a bit. That's your assignment right there, is to pull out a paper, write, what are those major fears are, and just keep asking yourself why until you get to that bottom layer. That's what Coach K needs you to do right now. But to help take you to that next level, though, we got something for you tonight.
Yes,
Joseph,
we do. Yes,
talk
we
to
do.
him, baby.
What I want y'all to comment below, comment GREaffirmations.com.
Do it.
GREaffirmations.com. Now, what it's 9 biggest fears, right? There's really 9 key fears. So what Kyle does in this is y'all it's yours for free. Just comment it below, just so that whoever comes here after you is able to click your comment and go there from there. GREaffirmations.com. Just comment it below if you guys are live right now. Hey Hannah, hey Alex, hey Carol, how you guys doing? But the reason for this is because there are 9 main fears. Whatever you're scared of in regards to the GRE goes into one of these 9.
Right.
And we're teaching you like exactly how to replace that fear. Because if you can figure out which one is holding you back, if we can start replacing it or them, because it might be multiple, then we actually stand a chance to just take care of the other stuff for the GRE. Does that make sense? Yeah. So comment it below, GREaffirmations.com. If you guys comment it, whoever's live right now or on replay, comment it below, just so that everybody who's watching after you can click on it. But if y'all go there, then it's game over. GREaffirmations.com. And I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing rest of your evening. Much love.